Okay, I think it's working now. I'm gonna wait until, sorry guys, if you were here for the other one. I've never streamed from YouTube or Zoom before, but the whole point in doing this is that in theory, I'm going to be able to share my screen with you, which is going to make this a lot more interesting. Okay, so could you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? I'm muting one thing, and I think it's not going to loop now. Okay, I'm not lagging. Amazing. You can hear me. This is going to be weird because I'm going to be on the other screen and I'm not going to be able to see you guys. I don't really like that, but give me just a couple seconds to figure this out, okay? And then we'll dive in. Okay, great. It's working. So let me see what happens when I share my screen now. Okay. Can you guys see that? Where did you guys go? I don't know where you guys went. Crap. Hmm. Now I can't see the chat, so I can't ask you if you can see this or not. Can I access the chat on my phone? Let's see. I'm gonna join the chat. Or is this my live? Oh God, it posted my live from before. Please. Um, let's see. Oh, here's the live I'm on right now. Oh, you can see it. Amazing. Okay, I'm in the chat with you guys. This is funny. Hi. All right. Sweet. Yay! Freaking success. We have a shared screen on YouTube. I figured it out. Thank you, ChatGPT. Incredible. Okay. Well, I didn't even really want to use my screen yet, but can I make this bigger and just talk at you for a second? That's a little bit better. Okay. Well, now I'm in the center. Okay, no, don't do that. And I want to record this. Can I do this? Bear with me, guys. We're almost there. I've never done this before. Okay, record to this computer. Okay, wonderful. Hi, everybody. Looks like this is working. I'm going to stop looking at that right now. All right. Good evening. So the reason I wanted to come on tonight, actually, I had the original plan was I wanted to teach about the nodes tonight. I wanted to actually teach like a little free course for my YouTube people because I'm not over here very much anymore. And I thought that that could be a nice thing to do. Um, and maybe I still will. Maybe that'll be towards the end. So if you're interested in learning about the nodes, stick around because we'll dive into that. But then as I got closer to wanting to do the live, I realized that there's just so much going on. There's so much going on in the field that I felt like I would come on and talk a little bit about that as well. One being just the insanity that has ensued since Mars and Pluto came into their square. Two, we have 3iATLAS, this interstellar object hurtling towards Mars. It's going to pass Mars and then the sun, and then it will make its pass close to us. And I thought we would look at that together. And I thought I would talk a little bit about just my intuitive feeling on that. And full transparency, I haven't had a whole lot of time until the last 2 days to even look into 3iATLAS. So I'm just going to share with you some things that I learned, point you in the direction of a video that I found really informative for people that are interested in researching that object deeper themselves, which I recommend because it's pretty trippy. And yeah, we'll take it from there. And then I thought that I would go into the nodes, and there's a reason that I want to talk about the nodes. So that's basically what tonight is all about. First of all, I'm just curious, how's everybody feeling? How are we feeling? Hey, Laura. We have a brilliant astrologer in our midst. Her name is Laura Black. She goes by Blacklight Astrology on Instagram. And if you don't already follow her, you definitely should because she is amazing. I'm just curious to know how you guys are feeling because um, I don't want to make assumptions. I feel like things are pretty wild in my world and how I feel, but that's not how everybody feels. So I'm curious, I'm genuinely curious. How is everybody feeling? Some people could be feeling great. And I don't feel bad, actually. I'm just feeling a lot. It's been a really interesting couple of days. And I'm actually wondering uh if what I've been feeling has to do with 3i Atlas because it's getting very close to its first close point of interest where it's going to start to um, potentially have an effect that we'll feel. Okay, one sec. Okay, so yeah, intense and heavy. So let's take a look at the chart, guys. And I'll tell you, oh, this thing is so annoying. I'll tell you what I've been feeling. Do I want to be on the bottom? That's kind of weird. No, I want it to be up there. Why is it jumping around? Okay. So for me, the intensity really came in when Mars came into its square with Pluto. And that started about a week ago, but accelerated when Mars hit Scorpio and started to make this intense square to Pluto. So this is not a surprise that we feel intensity from the signature. There's not a whole lot of signatures that make me uneasy, and this is one of them. Because, yeah, I mean, you have co-rulers of Scorpio in a very intense alignment. One, the planet of war, Mars, which is just lethal in Scorpio, no matter what you're talking about. Mars in Scorpio is a very intense placement. It doesn't always function in its shadow, of course not. But objectively, Mars in Scorpio makes you sit back in your chair a little bit. It's like, damn, that's a intense position for Mars to be in. And then you place Mars in a tense aspect with Pluto, which is another aspect in astrology or signature in astrology that makes you sit back in your chair a little bit. Pluto, you don't mess around with Pluto. Pluto humbles you. Pluto is more powerful than us all. It's intense. And so you put Pluto square Mars, and you're just dealing with a volatile signature. And I said this in my weekly forecast on the membership, and I'll say it here. I want to make this clear. Not every person would experience volatile things occurring in their life on a personal level. That's not what I would ever predict. There's plenty of people that may have experienced the positive side of Mars and Scorpio square Pluto over the last couple days. That might have been intense focus, feeling like an obsessive drive towards something. I definitely felt that. There is a project that I've been thinking about getting started. Laura knows about it for like months, long time. And in the last week, it was suddenly like something dropped in and it was like, oh, it's time. And I started it and it was like I was up really late working on it, like didn't really want to go to sleep, didn't want to take breaks because I was just feeling that like momentum of now, it's now, it's now. That is one of the positive parts of this transit is this intense drive, Mars is our drive to do something. You may have felt like severing something suddenly. That would be another thing that could come positively if this is something that you need to let go of. But, and I know that some people don't like when I go into this kind of stuff, but it's just like, it's undeniable that this is a signature that comes with darkness. It does. And uh we had the Charlie Kirk assassination actually before Mars went into Scorpio, but Mars was square Pluto when that happened. So we were already getting the warlike, lethal side of Mars. But as soon as Mars went into Scorpio, that situation got so much more intense, Neptunian, strange, bizarre, and I'm just going to say it, scary. As soon as Mars went into Scorpio, we saw that shift happen. And I asked myself before getting on this live, am I going to go into my thoughts on that situation? Do I want to open that can of worms? And the truth is, I actually do because it's so much bigger than that person. It is so much bigger than that. So I am going to share briefly my thoughts on the situation. And I would like to invite us all in this moment to just, if you're interested, and if you're not, that's also fine. If you're interested, um, reflect that I'm not telling anybody what I think the truth is. I'm literally just sharing my intuitive feelings on the situation. And I may be wrong, and that's okay. I'm just sharing, right? I'm just adding to the noise on the planet right now. Um, and one of the reasons I feel safe in doing so is that I actually don't identify with a political party and uh, never have. I don't make it a practice to vote. I don't agree with the Republican Party or the Liberal Party. And people get upset with that and they want to come at you with, like, oh, you're privileged, you know, you're not voting, so you have no um, ability to talk. And if that is somebody's view in here, I just want to stop that person right there and say that that's actually a moronic thought form that is not um, unique. It's actually a regurgitated, programmed thought form that's been implanted, and people just say that, but it actually doesn't make any sense because there are many things that you can do grassroots in your community, in your day to day, that make a huge difference in this planet, on this planet, that have nothing to do with a lottery of checking boxes for things that I don't on a soul level align with, so I don't do it. And that's my right, you know. So I'm only sharing that not to tell anybody that they should do that. That's just me. That's just that's how I do things in my life. And but I'm sharing it here because I think that I have a unique sort of unbiased view of this because I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was until unfortunately he was shot. I had no idea. I'm not following that stuff, you know. I know vaguely what's going on because I think it's important to stay informed what's going on. I'm not just like sitting on a cloud over here, you know, but I don't follow politics unless I feel like it's a chess move that I really should be aware of. And uh, so when I heard that I was waiting for something because I knew that there would be something with Mars square Pluto and I knew that it would be big. And so when I am waiting for something like that, I do watch the news headlines pretty closely because I like to see, as a scientist and as an astrologer, I like to see how the archetypes and the language of the gods is coming through the headlines in the natural world. It's a practice. It's important, right? So I saw the assassination and I knew, okay, this is a big deal. This is bigger than, just a, you know, a normal death out there. Um, so I did my due diligence and I researched this person, Charlie Kirk, that I literally knew nothing about. Honest to God, I think maybe I'd seen one of his college campus things like, I don't even think I ever clicked on it. I think I'd seen one time his face. Otherwise, I knew nothing. And I honestly intended to do a little bit of research, and I ended up watching a lot of his stuff, hours worth of interviews with him. And my honest assessment of Charlie as a person is, and I said this on my Instagram already, I think he truly believed in his mission. I think he was locked in, you know. I think he was living from his heart in what he believed the truth is. Charlie and I have radically different opinions on what that truth is, but that's okay. That's between him and God, right? That's not my, I'm not going to argue with his version of truth. It is what it is, right? Um, I think that he's obviously fundamentally super different from me. I mean, as a woman who never wanted to get married, never wanted children, I'm an entrepreneur. I've always been extremely independent. I find a lot of his views to be triggering. Um, but what I found as I started researching him and listening to him, um, I realized a 90% of what I was seeing people say about him on the internet was actually untrue because I was with my eyes listening to him and hearing differently. And I was like, oh wow, this is really interesting. So we see this a lot, right? This is the problem with politics is that it's literally to weaponize people against one another. And both sides are watching their associated news program, and their associated news program is actually cutting and splicing footage to support a narrative. And the divide has grown so dramatically now that there's two sides literally talking at each other, screaming at each other, hating one another now, um, which is the really scary part now is that there's actual hatred in the field now. It's very intense, and that is that Mars Scorpio square Pluto energy. That is the presence of evil, and that's actually what the real reason I'm talking to you guys tonight is that we are the presence of evil is here. It's here. We all feel it. It's fucking here. And um, as a person who's here to battle evil, I have to talk about this right now. It's part of it's not something I really want to do, to be honest with you. But it's like, yep, this is the moment where you fucking stand up and you say something, you know, if you're gonna be here and be a fucking part of all of this, right? So I believe that Charlie was a part of something I don't think he knew. When I look at him, I see in his eyes almost like a he there's an innocence there. I don't know. There's an innocence there. And he was following a book. He was fucking following a book that he believed would lead him to truth. And so are a lot of people on this planet right now. And it's that evangelical, very traditional thing that is, in my opinion, distorted. I'm over here reading the Nag Hammadi scriptures right now, doing again my due diligence to try to find answers, which is apparently, as far as I know, which admittedly is not a whole lot about this topic, but as far as I know in the research I've done, this might be the closest thing we have to unedited teachings of Jesus, because these scriptures were literally buried in the Egyptian desert, as the story goes, by some radical monks to preserve the teachings before the church came and controlled and distorted it like they do everything else. Um, so I think that Charlie, and this is where I might lose some people, but hear me before you get triggered. Um, I believe that Charlie was indoctrinated by a cult, otherwise known as the Christian Church, not the teachings of Jesus, but a cult. There are many religious cults that have a lot of power on this planet right now. And but I don't think that that's what killed him at all. More importantly, something very interesting happened the moment he was executed for basically debating people, because people have been weaponized. And I said this on my Instagram, and this is an important piece of all of this. If Charlie had been executed 5 years ago, no one would have been celebrating his death. People are celebrating his death because of an escalation of events that have happened over the last 5 years, where the media and the powers that be have weaponized people against each other around topics such as Black rights, trans rights, all of these things. And it's interesting, as a non-political person, um, I don't think that, oh, that's a loaded statement, but I'm going to say it because I do think it's true. I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. Of course it does. It does. I'm aware. Of course, hatred towards trans people exists. It does. Of course, it does. But I don't think that it is as alive on this earth as the politicians and the left and the right would have you believe. I don't. And I have lots of trans friends and lots of Black friends that agree with me, and we have intelligent conversations about such. So I feel safe in that assessment. Um, yeah, because I've inquired and again used my brain to look around and look at what I see off the screen in actual reality. And I have friends all over the planet. I have friends that live in the South, and I have, anyways, I'm getting off topic here. But as soon as he was executed, that's when the real fucking show started. And I say that with no disrespect towards him, because I think what happened to him, if what happened to him is what it seems, is absolutely terrible and a part of something much bigger. Um, as soon as he was gone, something else stepped in. And all I can say is, if you can look at that woman and you don't think that something is fucking off, you're probably not watching this, if I had to guess. uh, but it's wild. And that is really why I felt like I needed to talk on here, because I was raised Catholic, and I went to catechism, and sometimes I think the reason I was forced to go uh, is because I was studying as a soul. I never resonated with any of it, but I went to catechism all the way up to my parents basically told me that I had to go to my first year of confirmation, whenever that is. What is it, like 13, 14? And I was able to make the choice, thank you, whether I wanted to be confirmed or not. And I never wanted to be confirmed and I left at whatever age that is, 15 or so. Uh, but otherwise, I mean, I went to church every other Sunday because I was with my father every other week. And so I would go every other Sunday with him. And I went to catechism every Tuesday. So I did study the Bible and I know a lot of the Bible. And when I look at what's happening right now, I don't know exactly what the Antichrist is supposed to be, but I feel like I'm fucking looking at it. Full stop. Boom. I do. And uh there is a consciousness on this planet right now masquerading as Christ, and it's not. That's all I know. And I feel pretty solid in that. And all the other details don't really matter to me because I can't figure them out. It would be a waste of my energy to try. Um, I still do sometimes, but I all I know is that there is um a presence claiming to be God that isn't. Because if it was, it wouldn't look like that. It wouldn't feel like that. And it would likely have absolutely nothing to do with politics. Is that something we can just agree on? Like, come on. The issue is, and this is something that I want to, yeah, this is a good time to bring this up. I am in the process of putting together a course that what date did I choose? I think is going to be, I think the 8th of October. That's the date that I'm looking at right now. Yeah, 8th of October. That's a Wednesday. It will be free for members on the membership. And I just want to say, those of you that don't know, I run a mystery school. If you have been curious about trying out the membership for a month, you can cancel whenever you want. October would be a good month to try, and here's why. Uh, there's going to be 2 courses in the month of October. I'm going to teach the one I'm about to tell you about, and then Lauren is going to teach a freaking awesome tarot course at the end of the month. And I think we're even going to do an intuitive skill building class on top of that. So it's like, it's honestly, not to toot my own horn, but it's kind of a really crazy amount of value that comes with the membership. But like, I trust and I love doing this stuff and it is what it is. But like, yeah, you're getting forecast, you're getting these free courses, you're getting a lot of stuff. If you don't want to be a member, that's fine. I am going to offer the class I'm about to tell you about to people that aren't members. It'll be a priced ticket. It'll probably be around 30 bucks or something, like I try to keep things fair, but you can get it for free for 25 a month and then get all the other stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying October is like kind of objectively a cool month to try it out. Um, so the course is on the different evolutionary stages of the soul. So I'm going to show you, where is it? Here it is. Oh, check out my logo, you guys. Isn't it sick? And I was inspired to make this logo because the world is a fucking weird place right now, and we all need to have our angelic sword with us at all times, which I'm going to get into in a little bit. So, all right. Stages of evolution. So this course is about how the chronological age of the soul differs how you you experience reality. So basically, and this is so obvious, everyone on the planet is not the same soul age. Thus, there are a lot of people that are literally experiencing a completely different reality from you if you're an older soul. And this course goes into the different stages of the soul, what sort of identifiers for what stage you're in, and there are many. No, we can't tell you like the exact number of years or number of lifetimes you've lived. It's not like that, but it is teaching the stages that the soul goes through evolutionarily as it goes on its journey of liberation and ascension. Uh, this is not my individual idea. This is the teachings of Jeffrey Wolf Green. It's foundational. This class is foundational for evolutionary astrology. This concept and this class, I can't even tell you, is so necessary for accurate chart analysis because the chart changes dependent on the age of the soul. Dependent on what category you fall into, the chart is going to speak differently. Very much so. So if you are interested in that, it's a great course. But to be honest, this is perhaps the first course I've ever taught that is honestly just interesting, whether you're into astrology or not. This is also just a class that's like, this is just freaking fascinating, you know? And you might ask, well, how do you know that this is true? And that would be a very intelligent question that I myself would ask if presented with this. My response to that would be take the course, listen, absorb, and then try to find the lie because you won't be able to find one. I haven't. So that's why I teach Jeffrey's work because I listen, I absorb, and then I try to find where it's untrue, and I simply can't. I think there's been one thing that I sort of disagree with him, and it has to do with Pluto at the North Node, and it's relatively insignificant. Otherwise, I believe in pretty much everything he says. Um, I can't even put into words how much I respect that man. It's just unbelievable. So, this course is going to help you stay sane in the times we are in because you will stop trying to understand why people can't see things the way you see them. You will stop trying to make them. You will stop having conversations with family members that are under the dream spell, that are, you know, just hook, line, and sinker being, I mean, maybe literally led to slaughter. I don't know. I don't know where this ship is fucking going. I have some ideas, but like, if you have been glued to your TV being programmed by what's going on, it's just, it's getting pretty intense out there. And I always think of that passage from the Bible, those who have the eyes to see will see. It's really like that right out there right now, man. It's freaking intense. Okay, so enough about that. The course will be announced on my socials. I'll probably come on here and announce it again. But in case I don't, check my socials in the next week and I'm going to start putting up the flyers and stuff like that and posting where you can get tickets. It's going to be a really, really good class. I've never really taught anything like it. Okay, let's talk about 3iATLAS, shall we? What's going on in the chat? People freaking want to kill me or what? Probably not. Probably got a good thing in here. Oh, everybody's being cool. I don't know what Robert's going on about. Thanks, Angel Alchemy. All right. I don't understand what Robert's saying, so I'm just gonna move on. Um, my foot just fell asleep. Okay. Let's go look at this frickin' interstellar object. What the hell? All right. So fascinating. So this is the skylive.com. You guys know about this yet? And I want to know. Um, okay. So 3i Atlas, here it is. This is its path. As far as we know, it's not posing any kind of a threat. So I'll just start there. But that's not why we're talking about it. We're talking about it because pretty much all astrologers agree on this, as far as I know. Anything that is going to pass through our solar system is going to have some kind of energetic impact on us. It's sort of like the phenomenon that in astrology, as soon as something is observed, given a name, we start to work with its energy, it starts to impact the chart. So even something that's just passing through, as this asteroid is just going to pass right by us, um, it's going to have some kind of energetic effect on us. And we can make some observations based on the planets that it's going to closely come by, and I'm going to track that with you. I wrote down some notes about the dates when this is going to sort of come in. But then we can sort of look at the asteroid itself and maybe make some assumptions or observations about what might be going on here. And I think regarding its energy, and I'm telling you, oof, I have been feeling something strange the last couple days, and honestly, in a cool way. Last 3 nights, I've had incredibly vivid dreams, and two of those dreams, arguably all of them, but I can't prove the third one, but two of them were prophetic in nature within hours of waking up. The first one was a dream about somebody who's crossed over. So I can't say that that was prophetic in any way, but it felt like a visitation. It felt different from a normal dream. The second dream, a person that I do not talk to regularly at all. I think we've had one correspondence and it was like over a year ago on Instagram. Messaged, or excuse me, I had a dream about him that we were talking at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in Los Angeles. And then I woke up, opened my Instagram, and he had messaged me something like just conversational. And then I watched his stories, and he had been at the Rainbow Bar and Grill that night. So not only was it weird that he messaged me at all, because we don't regularly speak at all, but he was also where I had the dream. So that was crazy. And then this morning, I had a dream. I was supposed to go travel 3 hours away today to meet up with some friends, and I had a dream that they rescheduled, and then woke up and immediately got the message that they had rescheduled. So, and it feels related to me. There's something trippy in the field right now that I'm really enjoying. It's very interesting and it feels quantum. It feels like the normal laws and regulations are being sort of like bent. There's like a feeling of something being bent that I feel. It's a trip. Uh, and I'm wondering if it is this presence that is coming rapidly towards us. This frickin' thing is faster than Mercury, which is really, really freaking fast. And it's actually going to speed up apparently when it gets close to the sun. The diameter of, I guess it's called a comma or coma. I think it's a coma. Um, which is basically, as I understand, it's sort of like a cloud of like debris and shit around it. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. It's half the diameter of the sun. Like, that's huge. That's big, right? So this is not just like a small, insignificant thing. The diameter of the nucleus, which is the inside, is not known, but we know, and as I understand it, they don't even really know what the nucleus is, which it gives this like a mysterious quality, right? Also, the fact that it came from out there, that gives it a quality, right? It's this like mysterious outlier, you know? It's just like we don't it's we don't know. And there's something a little unnerving about the fact that it came from deep interstellar space. And so, thus, with it, it's bringing this mysterious interstellar energy with it, right? So, oh, I want to give a shout out to this guy's channel. I'm going to write his name so you guys can check him out. Highly suggest you do. His name is Oh, I hope I wrote this down right. Stefan Burns. I watched his video on this that was more like informative, logical, and then I watched a video that he did with Pam Gregory, the astrologer, that was pretty good. I enjoyed the more kind of informative, like sort of scientific one a little bit better personally than their interpretation, but maybe check it out. I didn't watch the whole thing. It's very long. So anyways, he shout out to him because that's where I got this information. And shout out to Jonathan for telling me about that video. Okay. So what's this thing gonna do? Let's check it out. Uh, doo-doo-doo. So what day is it? It's the 25th. Okay, so this is on the September 27th. Here we are right here. So on October 3rd, more or less right here, it's gonna pass by Mars. So October 3rd, and obviously, if we back it up, it's getting closer every day. So around the first couple days of October, that's going to stimulate the energy of Mars, and Mars is in Scorpio, square freaking Pluto, right? That's wild. So, I mean, things could get a little more bizarre, I would imagine, around that time if we're mixing interstellar mysterious energy with Mars in Scorpio. And I don't want to, you know, put any dark vibes out there or anything, but like Mars in Scorpio square Pluto, it could get a little weirder out there. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think that that's a fair thing to assume, given what we're looking at, don't you? That things might get a little darker. Or maybe this is an angel frickin' comet. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. It's gonna tell us, apparently. My feeling on it is, I told you I'd give you my intuition, is that it will be more neutral, but it will be strange. That's what I feel. It will be, because that's what I'm already feeling, and I think I'm feeling it already. This interesting quantum kind of vibe. Is anybody else feeling that lately, or is it just me? So bird is in the word. That's cute. Is asking if it's gonna be visible. And here's the other tripped out thing. As I understand it, when it gets close over here, no, because it's, look, check it out. It's gonna sneak by as it gets closer to the sun. The sun is gonna blind it out. As far as the research I've done, it's gonna blind it out. And so there's this sneaky element to that too. Because it's like, oh, so this is our next date we actually want to talk about. The closest it'll be to the sun, which is called, I guess it's called the perihelion. I don't know if that's how you say it right, but that's what I wrote down. Is October 29th and October 30th. It passes right there, right by the sun, as close as it's going to get, right? But we won't be able to see it because we're going to be on the other side and the sun is blocking it. And then it keeps going. Sorry, this is kind of touchy. There we go. That's better. Boom. See that? So it came by Mars early October, then late uh October, it's here. And then December, look, there we go. There we go. That's better. December is when it starts getting close to Earth because Earth is going this way. See that? So apparently it's December 19th is when it's closest to Earth. So right around then. And then it frickin' goes on to go trip out some other frickin', oh, there it goes by Jupiter. Whoa, that gets really close to Jupiter. How come nobody said anything about that when I was researching? That seems pretty close and significant. Am I right? Okay, so that is going to be when? End of March. And then where does the shit go? There he goes. Bye. Okay. Uh, yeah, so he's going to be in such a trip, right? Wow. So everything I had written down was like the times when we'll probably feel it the most. Because see, look, he's passing other orbits, but there's no planet around. So it's like it's pretty much October, November, December, looks like. Oh, Janelle, say hi to your mom. Yeah, Laura's saying quantum AF up in here. I agree. That's how I feel. Oop, whoa. So, anyways, then I want to just remind us that we have a frickin' full moon in Aries coming. And guess what? The ruler of that full moon is Mars in Scorpio. So this Mars Scorpio energy for the next, till October 6th, and then frankly, beyond if we're, well, yeah, I think from now until October 6th, the Mars Scorpio energy is really, really, really potent because right now Mars is square Pluto, then frickin' 3iATLAS is gonna go cruise by him and ruffle his feathers, and then we go into full moon in Aries, right? So Mars Scorpio party up in here right now. So with the presence of whatever we want to call this energy, I think it's just purely evil. There is, when you have people hating each other, the amount that they have been, I feel that it's sort of been dissipating a little bit in the last couple days. Maybe I've just been better at where I'm directing my attention, but I feel like as soon as whatever the hell is going on with Erica Kirk happened, I felt like a hush go over the crowd. And then there's the people that are still like totally hypnotized and like kind of like following her or whatever. And it's kind of just like, okay, God be with you. Like, goodbye. But then everybody else is going, like, what the fuck is going on? That's what I've experienced. And uh I'm in the boat with you, but while like I was saying, like I don't know the details, but I do know that something is off. And I know that I cannot give that my energy. And so I had a moment with myself kind of the night that I sort of saw that, whatever the hell is behind those eyes. And I was like, okay, got it. Um, the in times like this, when we are faced with that level of darkness, we have to so devote ourselves to being of service. That is like the, it just creates such a shield of protection when the world gets so confusing. And so much of this, I believe, is Saturn Neptune, just like false prophet vibes. I knew there was going to be a false prophet. To be honest, I was expecting it sooner than now when Saturn and Neptune were closer together. Not to say that people we have had in office are not Neptunian as hell already, but I'm just saying this recent thing. I mean, no one finds it weird that Erica basically looks like she's about to run for office overnight. Like, do people realize the amount of planning and production that it takes to put into events like that memorial? Speeches prepared, the ability to public speak in front of millions. Um, and that's to say nothing about the performance itself. But I'm just saying, it's just baffling to me. Like, we have really left the fucking plantation. It is just like, what the fuck? This is some Black Mirror shit. And I've never even seen Black Mirror because I don't watch it, but I know what it is. I know the vibration of it, and it is that. Um, we have to get in service, and whatever that means for you. And that is why I thought it might be a good night to talk about the nodes. I feel like I just got trailed off though. Was I gonna say something else? And I forgot. Probably. Oh, cool, Laura. That's awesome. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. And again, it's like I didn't even know that this person existed up until like a week ago, these characters. And I'm looking at it going, that doesn't even really seem like the same person as before, especially energetically. There's like something has stepped in, you know? But what do I know? Uh, so let's talk about the nodes. Let's do a little nodes class, shall we? Maybe we'll use my chart for an example. I don't know if I really want to do that actually. Let's not do that. It feels a little bit like private. Um, let's do Muhammad Ali. How about that? Okay. So the nodes. And there's a reason I'm doing this right now. Reason being that the nodes are about your life mission, which connects to your service. while on the planet, right? And I work with the nodes every day. Even if I don't do a chart that day, I'm always thinking about my nodes. I stare at them all the time. It's actually been a huge part of diving into mediumship, is the activation that working with these points in the chart gives you and lends you. These are portals we're talking about. The nodes are portals. Straight the fuck up. And the mystery school and the community that's forming over there has become a really interesting space. I didn't expect this part to happen. I knew that I was creating community and I was so excited about all that, but like there's been this new thing that's been coming in that is really profound that I'm really, really excited about that I didn't expect to happen. And that is that the mystery school seems to be attracting souls, many different souls across the board, but there is this consistency that I'm seeing in the meetings, in the mystery school meetings, as we get to know one another. And that is that the mystery school seems to be attracting souls that are ready to sort of leave the matrix, as it were. In other words, they want to step into their soul's path and leave the day job and the imprisonment associated with it behind. And the mystery school seems to be this like threshold where they're coming and they're getting to meet other people and get the community support that they need to to make that jump. And that's not something that I could have put together if I tried. It's not something that I put in the fine print or that I didn't say anything about it. It's just happening. And over the months, those people are getting closer and closer to, really putting themselves out there and stepping into that full soul alignment. The North Node is not just about career, the North Node is about soul alignment in general. So that's very exciting. And if you find yourself in that position, I want you to know that there is a community for you and you should come hang out. So the nodes. The nodes are, I've never seen his chart, by the way, but so far I like it. Um, the nodes are gateways, portals. And the south node is the gateway to the past. The north node is the gateway to the future. Plain and simple. So we have a directional flow of energy that is ever present that goes that way. That is the direction of evolution. It is strong, arguably maybe the strongest thing in the universe. I sort of think of it as like how all plants will grow towards the sun. They're sort of growing towards that powerful source, the source. It's sort of like that. It's like you can't swim against this current. It's ever present, it's ever flowing. The ego tries, Lord, does it try to resist this, but it really can't at the end of the day. And even if you transition and you eject out of this life experience early, it would appear that you will come back and pick right up where you left off and continue on this journey of growth. So we have the south node gateway that is looking into the past and the north node that looks into the future. When we're talking about the past, in this context, we are talking about past lives, but we're also talking about the past in this lifetime. So it's just always the past, whether we're talking about past incarnations or past lives, this is the past. Now, with the North Node, we're talking about the future. Some refer to it as destiny. Some call this the life purpose. I know what they mean by this, but I don't necessarily agree or like that title. Here's why. This whole journey is the purpose. You came back to repeat your South Node. That is a huge freaking part of your whole reason for coming back. So I don't like life purpose because it makes the South Node, or excuse me, makes the North Node sound more important, and it's not. They're connected. Dragon's tail, dragon's head. They're both super important, and the purpose of life is to come and move through and master these. Okay? But what I like to call the North Node is the calling. Because for me, that's what it feels like. I like to tap into how things feel. And to me, the North Node feels like the calling. It's magnetic. It pulls you on a soul level. The North Node in our current reality will hopefully take the form of a career, because our career is what we spend a lot of time doing. And if your career is not in alignment with your North Node, you are going to feel that divide, because you're going to spend so much time doing something that is not giving you enough time to work on your mission, your North Node mission. So what I like to do in my sessions, and it appears the mystery school is helping people get in alignment with spending the majority of their time on their God-given mission rather than working for somebody else's mission, right? Um, and of course, you can work under somebody else and still be doing your mission. I'm not saying that you can't. If it's something that you fully on a soul level align with, great, that's fine. I'm talking about when you don't, right? So the South Node is in the past, and what happens is we come back from our previous life, we reincarnate into a new body, we choose parents and a geographical location that reflect the karma that we are here to move through. This is the karma back here. South Node is the past life karma. We come right back and we pick up right where we left off. And for about the first 30 years of life, the significance of 2930 is the first Saturn return. For approximately the first 29 years of life, we are repeating this over here for the most part. The North Node may come in glimpses and flashes, and there are certain things that can change this. If you have a planet situated at the North Node, this may be different for you, but by and large, we are mostly in our South Node up until our first Saturn return. We are repeating the past life karma. Why? I don't really know, but if I had to guess, it's probably because we don't remember our previous life. So how are we supposed to work through something that we don't remember? So we have to come back and we have to do it again for a period of time. That's how I look at it anyway. The soul repeats this karma. So the South Node is going to show you patterns that you have, and these patterns are unconscious. In other words, these are not things you are trying to do. They're not things that you sought out. They are things that you just do by default. If you are not consciously trying to change your behavior, you will default to your South Node. You're comfortable there. The South Node is comfortable and it's familiar. Now, that happens for a while. And then the closer we get to our Saturn return, the more these patterns start to exhaust themselves. It's no longer time to repeat the past. There would be no point in spending our whole incarnation, our new incarnation, repeating something that we already did. That wouldn't make any sense. So at the Saturn return, Saturn rules time. It's time to jump. And that's what the Saturn return is. That's why it's so difficult because the soul is for the first time, for the most part, really seriously attempting to do something that is unfamiliar. And this is a conscious process. So see the polarity that we're lining up here. We have unconscious versus conscious, familiar versus unfamiliar, past, future. The North Node is conscious because you have to try to do the North Node. If you just sit back and wait for things to happen, your North Node is not really going to engage so much. And that's why destiny is not really my favorite word for the North Node either. Because destiny infers that it's just going to happen to you. And that's not really how I feel the North Node operates. The North Node is something you decide, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do something different. And it kind of scares me and it's pretty uncomfortable because my soul has never done it before, but I feel a calling that I'm supposed to do it. Therein lies the paradox that every soul faces on this planet all the time. That is the paradox between the past and the future, what is familiar versus unfamiliar. And we see this all of the time. Tell me, does this sound familiar? A person that is in a marriage, they've been in it for a long time, it's comfortable, it's familiar, but they want more. The call of the future is calling them and they want it, but it's unfamiliar, uncertain, and scary. There's that paradox. How about this one? A person that's been in a job for 20 years, they could do it with their eyes closed. It's familiar, it's comfortable, but they want more. Their soul is yearning for more. We see this all the time. This is that moment is the most common time somebody reaches out for a reading, is usually that place where they're like, I'm sick of what I'm doing, but I don't know what to do next. Or they actually know what to do next. They're just not connected to it. And that's what we do in a reading is we get you connected to it. They've got one foot in and one foot out. They're afraid to make the leap. And a reading is basically where we get it really nice and confirmed for you. So then you have the courage to make the jump. That's why these readings are so powerful. That's why the nodes are so powerful, because this is stuff you already know. A reading is not going to tell you something you don't know. Why that would be weird. It's you. This is you. Well, this isn't. This is Muhammad Ali, but um you know, um, it's not going to it shouldn't really surprise you. What it will do is explain with startling accuracy, if you're working with an astrologer that knows what they're doing, patterns that have followed you for a very long time. And it's going to give you karmic context of why. And something very amazing happens when that happens, because when you have the context of why, you can break the pattern because you're now going to catch yourself whenever you do that pattern, right? Similarly, the confirmation of the calling, that's where the real magic is, because when you get confirmed what the calling is thematically and archetypally, this instills faith in the divine. This instills faith in that this isn't all just random and there's actually something pretty fucking magical happening here, because it's like, how the hell would I know any of this? I'm just reading a map. That's all I'm doing. You know what I mean? An astrologer is essentially a person that's learned an alien language and then helps you read a map that you were given at birth that is an alien language. That's what an astrologer is. Um, and people get it twisted out there when they get in their ego, and you want to be careful about that, because that's that same kind of evil that we were talking about earlier, is a power hungry person that wants you to believe that they are the magical thing that's going on and that you should look to them for all the fucking answers. No, you have all the answers and you put them, your soul chose a specific time to come into this matrix this energetic matrix called Earth. And my job would just be to help you read the map and teach you how to read it yourself. That would be preferable, and that's why I built the membership. Um, so yeah. What else can we say? We go back and forth between the South Node and the North Node all the time. That is normal. I say this all the time. And if you've done a reading with me, I go through this in every single one of my readings. I've probably said the words I'm saying right now. I don't even know. I can say this. When Santo was alive, my German Shepherd, he used to lay under my desk when I did readings, always. He was always within a couple feet of me. And he would audibly sigh. You know that German Shepherd sigh they have when they're like, when they know that they're going to be somewhere for a while and they want to go. When I would start this talk, he knew the words and he knew when I was getting to the end because I it's often like kind of a similar thing that I go through. And he would get up and stretch towards the end when he knew I swear to God, that dog got downloaded with so much astrology in his incarnation. It was wild. He was such a special dog. Uh Yeah, I go through this in every reading because it's so important. And we go back and forth all the time. And I say this because I think that a lot of times the North Node sounds like a destination, like it sounds like this thing we're supposed to shoot for. And like you get there and it's like, woohoo, like confetti falls from the sky and like, oh my God, I made it to my North Node. Not really. It's not really like that. It's like an ever unfolding process of learning how to do this new skill. Think of the North Node like a new skill that your soul does not know how to do. So you need to have a lot of compassion for your North Node because it's foreign to you. And every soul is going to be different on like how they're embracing their North Node. Some are going to be slower, some are going to be faster. We have some overachievers that, put Pluto by their North Node and they're just on the fast track. They're like, I want to do this for sure this lifetime, maybe because they might have resisted that last lifetime. Um, and if we have a transit that goes by the nodes, is particularly like, if you have Saturn transit your South Node, it doesn't matter how well you know your nodes and how hard you try to resist, you're going to get pulled back into situations that represent that past life karma. There's no doubt about it. Um, I've been using the chart. I mean, this is a total can of worms, but I've been using the nodes in mediumship and realizing that in composite charts of people that have crossed over, when planets aspect the nodes, there's more contact that happens beyond the veil, or even not even just contact between souls, but like things in their reality will happen when things aspect the nodes of a person that's crossed over, or even they're at midheaven. That's more well known. I've seen articles on that of like celebrity who's passed on, something aspects their MC, like a documentary will come out about them or something. Like it's wild. But I'm bringing up the nodes right now because they're not talked about enough, first of all. And second of all, in this moment in time where things can be so confusing and there's so much distraction and there's much, so many things that are trying to siphon your energy and pull you off of your mission and pull you away from your soul, literally, this is what we need to be focusing on, is doing our work. We can't control what other people do. We literally can't. I can't control what other people think, and I don't want to. What I can control is doing my individual role to clear my freaking bullshit karma from the past and step into my purpose of the North Node. That is what I can control. That is what I promised to do. That is why I came back. This is the whole reason you came back, is this right here. And if you want help, book a reading. We'll go over it. Like, that is why you're in a body. You know what I mean? Everything else is the great illusion, right? And so I'm bringing it up in this live, and we'll do a couple questions, and then I'm going to sign off to remind you that if you feel the temptations, if you feel distracted, if you feel yourself falling into discord with other people, it's so easy to do right now. If you find yourself trying to defend yourself to people that are not going to fucking understand you, so don't waste your time, reroute back to this, because this is gonna, it's gonna ground you and keep you focused. You know what I mean? Okay, do we want to do a little bit of questions? And then I'm going to sign off. I'm looking back in the chat now. Oh, it's only been an hour. That felt like longer to me. We covered a lot. Stacy, I think that the reason you could be feeling more after the fact is because of the intensity of the Mars square Pluto that occurred right after the eclipse. Probably. Let's see if this goes back to full. Oh. Oh yeah. Okay, great. Any questions? North Node Pisces. So the North Node Pisces is what we're all collectively moving through right now. North Node Pisces is about surrender. It's about trusting in the divine. It's about getting out of the mind, which is South Node Virgo, Mercurial, the mind with its incessant worry and attempt to control outcome and attempt to understand. It's about getting out of that and surrendering to the North Node in Pisces, which is more ethereal. But the North Node Pisces isn't quantifiable by design. It's not something that you can prove. So it requires your faith and your trust. There are implications about the higher octaves of spirituality, though, with the North Node Pisces. And I think that we're seeing that displayed right now, with what's going on just in the last couple of weeks, there's just been this like boom of Christianity and all these people saying that they're going to church for the first time and in 20 years or whatever. And like I think that's great, like I as much as like I wish it wasn't what it is in the Orthodox cult environment. What I am for is people searching for God in whatever way that resonates for them. Like I'm fully for that. You know what I mean? And hopefully, there will be, of course there will be. Eventually, it's all gonna figure itself out, but we're just spiraling through the eras, the ages. North Node Virgo. North Node Virgo is about clearing away distortion and confusion. North Node Virgo is interesting. Uh, South Node Pisces is you have a South Node Pisces if you have a North Node Virgo. South Node Pisces comes in with karma around things that were distorted, illusory, deceptive, or unclear. This lifetime, they will repeat that karma. And then eventually they'll come into the North Node Virgo, which is all about clarity, logic, organization, health. Um, but like a lot of my South Node Pisces don't attach to this. This is not your chart. I don't even know what your chart looks like, but it's consistent. And I find it interesting that a lot of South Node Pisces people find out later in life that their birth story or one of their parents or their family of origin, there's something that they were told that ends up not being true. So, like, they thought that their father was their father, and then when they're 15, they find out that their father is actually their neighbor, or there's something confusing or veiled or distorted. I find like religious cults are very common with South Node Pisces as well. It doesn't really matter what it is, and it's not always that dramatic, but I bring up the examples because they illustrate a point. And over time, they will come into the North Node Virgo and they'll get clarity on that. And then ultimately, their mission is to usually do something in the healing arts related to health or holistic health. But again, I don't know what evolutionary stage your soul is at, and that dramatically changes everything in the chart. So I would have to have like a little bit of a conversation with you. The nodes are going to change. I'm actually curious, man. We are about almost halfway. Feels like it's been a while, doesn't it? So the nodes are an 18-month journey, and we started in January. What month are we in? Oh, so about 8 more months, but let's see. Oops, not year, month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The nodes are going to switch uh, August of 2026. Excuse me, July. July of next year, folks, we're going to have North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. No, I don't think there will be a draft. No. But what do I know? Maybe. I don't think, I think it's going to be different than that. That's a scary thought, though, isn't it? Oh man, Christopher, then you've got depends on which one your north node is, but Christopher, the Pluto is sitting on your freaking nodes right now. You're one of them. Whatever your Aquarius is, Pluto's sitting there then. That's intense. That's an intense time. Thank you, Jen. I'm gonna write a book on the nodes when I get enough time, probably in 2 years. Uh, is it significant when we have partners with opposite north nodes, south nodes? Yeah, if they're around the same degree, if not, it's not really anything significant. But if you have your nodes at 12 degrees and they have their nodes at 15, that's close, then yes, that is a very karmic signature. It's common in very karmic relationships, but it is associated with some challenge there because they're coming from where you're going and vice versa. So there's major codes that you have for one another, but you're also going to trigger one another because one person is embracing what you're leaving behind and vice versa. Brother Chris. Thanks, Blue Lotus. I'm so stoked that freaking Zoom worked for us. Now I can do so many more of these lives, you guys. I just didn't want to just sit there and talk at the camera. I want to do the charts. You know what I mean? So this is huge. Moon conjunct South Node is indicative of some kind of close emotional bond in a past life. Sometimes it's mother-child, but I don't believe that it's always that uh directly symbolic. Moon is emotions and closeness. So it represents like an emotional bond from past lives. Jen is asking, how do we read the energy of the nodes that we're collectively in as it relates to our own nodes in our chart? Oh my God, you know what I just realized? Sorry, ADD moment. That means I can do a live with somebody else on here if I'm on Zoom. Oh my God, how fun. A whole new world. Okay, what was the question? How do we read the energy of the nodes that we're collectively in as it relates to our own nodes in our chart? The two aren't connected. The two aren't connected unless the nodes are making aspect to one another. So I can't really answer that question. They're different things. Any other questions? Oh yeah, Star Dad. Uh, Jeffrey Wolf Green is, I guess we could call him my mentor. I've never met him. He's my teacher. He's the person who wrote the books that changed my life. He's one of the founders of evolutionary astrology. He has a few books. One of them is sitting next to me. Uh, this book is crazy. This might be a little bit of a deep dive to start with for him, but it's called the EA Glossary. This book is like really small print and it's fucking massive and it's kind of intense. The Pluto series, volume one and volume two, I really like volume two, but they're both very important. You don't need to read them in order either, I don't think. Those would be a good place to start for sure. Uh, Chris, yeah, I mean, we know something's going on there. I don't know, but I don't even know. It might just be AI at this point. Like, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I posted in my stories a screen grab that I got of her talking on the podium, and I zoomed into her eyeball, and it's like the napkin is like going in her eye and it looks like it's not even, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I can't be the only fucking one seeing this. Like, why is no one like I'm not like this fucking tech genius over here. I'm just making an observation. I'm like, it's not normal for a napkin to be in your fucking eye. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm so confused. And it was the original. It's the original recording too. And I checked. Like again, I do my due diligence. I don't just like post shit. Like I was like, okay, let me make sure that there's not some whack filter on this or something. And I got the original freaking recording of that memorial speech and I screen grabbed it and zoomed in and there's something going on. But like it's just so performative. It is so performative. And I'm sorry, but if you can sit there and watch that woman talk and not feel like you're watching a soap opera, if you don't see it, you're watching too many soap operas. That's like how I feel. Is I'm like, and there's a lot of people that are indoctrinated by their television, right? So it's like that's why they can't see it because they're so like honestly poisoned by I haven't had a TV in over 20 years. Like if there's one in a hotel that I stay in, I put a fucking scarf over it that I don't do the big black box. And before I, I'm hopelessly fucked up by this thing. So don't, I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything, but I'm just saying I don't absorb like meaningless fucking shows and stuff like that. I never have, I never will. Well, look, I think forgiving is necessary, but you don't forgive. That is a process you do not within a couple of days. And just that was so nauseating. I'm just like, are you serious? And it's crazy how people are just like, oh my God, what a woman. And she's the freaking, stand-up woman in the world. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you all smoking? This is horrible. It's so weird. I don't even know, like I'm being careful what I say on here because like I got shadow banned on here in 2022 and I'm not really and again, what do I know? Again, I don't know. I just know what I feel and that there's something fucking weird with that whole thing. And I'm like kind of being funny, but it's actually not funny because um, the implications of that. That was really what hit me is when I realized, because the way it went down, I can't remember if I said this already, but like he got shot. I researched him. I genuinely felt sad for him. Like I was like, man, like I don't agree with him all the time, but I don't think the guy deserved to be shot like that. Nobody does. That's just, out there trying to talk to people. And and so I went to watch the first address she gave. It was immediate. The switch was immediate. It was like the next day or whatever. And I was out in the desert with some friends, and I was like, I was ready to feel really sorry for the girl. I was like, oh, this is going to be hard to watch, like, whatever. Another part of me is like, well, when you get involved in politics, it's a fucking gangster game. And, like, you're kind of like signing up for that. But I do believe he was trying to make a difference. And I think it's sad how much he looks up to Trump and, like, ugh, yeah, yeah, daddy issue vibes there. But, anyways, I couldn't believe it. When she started talking, I was like, oh God. I was literally like, oh no. Like, no, no, no. And then it was like Mars square Pluto. And I was like, oh crap. This is way worse than I thought. Yeah, elemental health and performance, we just don't know. We just don't know. I've also wondered if she is still with us. She may not be. They both might. I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's kind of like their journey, and it's all a distraction. It's all a distraction for us. But it's important to know what's going on. But I think we might be reaching another point where it's like it's kind of time to tune out again. You know what I mean? It's like know thy enemy, know your bearings, know what's up so that you can make smart decisions. But past that, it's just like, no. All right, guys. I think that's a good stopping point. Thank you for everybody, for the most part, other than that strange person, was very respectful in the comments here. But then again, that is one of the good things about just speaking your mind is that over the years, I think most of the people that would have anything negative to say have already seen themselves out. So I get to come on here and just be myself. And I feel like for the most part, I get to just like talk to friends in here, which is great. It's also fine if people disagree with me. I just don't like when people get main, you know. So hope everybody enjoyed the live tonight. There will be more. Again, if you've been wanting to check out the mystery school, October is a freaking good month. You will have your first forecast delivered to you this Sunday, as always. So you have till Sunday, and that would be a nice place to jump in. CoyoteStarAstrology.com, click on membership, and you can read all about it. Uh, all right, guys, thank you so much. And I will post this live if you didn't get to see the beginning or whatever. All right, guys. Now I got to figure out how to turn this off, so bear with me. Bye, guys.